Hey, Kirstie, welcome to the show. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you for having me on, Lacey.
I think this is a great topic. I always want to learn more about it. When it comes to, especially if you've been in the military or government world, this is something people talk about all the time. So I want to start off with, kind of what is government contracting and what are steps that people can take to delve into that world?
Yeah, absolutely. So, federal government contracting, you're working with the Army Corps of Engineers, you're working with a lot of military bases and places like that. Well, that's a lot of what we do. And the point of the government contracting is that the government sells to all kinds of different entities. Like when I was in the Air Force, we had different contractors who would come in and do the computer side of things, or who would do referral management. If you ever had to go to the medical side, you would notice, okay, so there's contractors working here as well. And that's kind of an easy way to break it down. You see contractors working on the base, they actually are doing bids and proposals to work in those positions. And the government allots so much money to certain positions so that they can fund what their need is. So as a contractor, your job is to make their mission look good, or to do help fulfill their mission. So that's how we come into it. Like, how can we help the government? How can we help fulfill their mission? And when you're doing that, you can't help but to win, because they want to win, you want to win, but you put their mission first. And so that's what that looks like.
Is there a difference between like the federal level, state level, local? Are those all government contractors?
Those are all different. You can do state contracting. They're different portals, so the worlds are completely different as far as how you access them. The state and the I don't do a lot of state stuff. My husband does, but he started at that level, so you can bid contracts that the state has out there. There's all kinds of stuff like highways, street and bridges. If the state needs, it's the most random things sometimes, like maybe 100 toilets, and it's like they may need 100 toilets for this, and you may play the middleman, like logistics, and say, okay, I can get, the state 100 of these items, or 100 gloves, or 17 boxes of PPE or whatever equipment it is for this rate, and then you sell it to, the local, state, or the federal government. And so that's essentially what they're looking for, a middleman.
On the federal level, what is the portal? How do you even see what the government contracts are? Because people talk about it like, oh, you should apply, like, get government contracts, but is there just like a bulletin board for that?
It's sort of, yeah. So SAM.gov is like the bulletin board for all the contracts. You don't actually have to sign up to see the contracts. You can go SAM.gov, and then you can just maybe type in infrastructure to see like what is there in infrastructure that's out there. But you can't actually bid any of the contracts or the work out there unless you set yourself up in go SBA.gov and set yourself up there. And then inside of SAM, you want to set yourself up, register yourself as a business. One of the things too, as we're talking about setting yourself up in SAM, would be making sure that you say, if you're a veteran, so we're talking to veterans here, you want to register yourself in the SBA's website as a woman-owned small business if you're a woman, a veteran-owned small business if you're a veteran, a service-disabled small veteran. So there's all these different what they call economic classifications, how you can rank yourself, and then the government has what they call set-asides that are specifically for each one of these designations. So say they're bidding a contract and it's highway, street, and bridges, and they have a 5% allotment on $1 million contract, and it has to be women. It has to be a woman-owned project. You can't just say, hey, I'm a woman, look at me. You have to go in now. It used to be that way, though. You now have to go in and register and prove that you're a woman, because for a lot of reasons, people will take those, misuse those benefits. But so you go in and you register for that, and then you can see the contracts out there and you can bid for it. But they always want people applying for these and bidding on these contracts because they never meet their goals for veteran-owned, woman-owned, economically disadvantaged owned small business, or for what is the other one? There's so many of them, but they never meet their quota for those 5% or different percentages that they have for those.
How did you get started in this? Because it's foreign to me. And then I would think, okay, what if I bid and then like, oh crap, I got one. Like now what do I do? So that would actually be my fear. Like it worked.
Yeah. Oh, okay, it worked. Okay, I got a $1 million contract. What do I do? So yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you need some help at that point. You're gonna have to get all your ducks in a row at that point. But I got into it. Actually, my husband's a federal government contractor, and he's been doing it for over 2 decades. And I was in the Air Force. Everybody thinks he's in the Air Force because he's a guy. He's big. He's brute. And I guess I don't look like I'm Air Force to everybody, but they think he's military. But being in the Air Force, he would always say, "Why don't you do federal contracting? Why don't you do federal contracting?" And I'm like, I'm just really not interested in federal contracting. You do your thing. It's working for you. That's great. And then when I got out of the service and I had my veteran status, he was like, "You really have set aside specifically for veterans, and you're trying to grow your business." So I had a separate business that I was doing. He was like, if you're looking for funding for your business, you really should lean into federal contracting. It took him a lot of years to pull my leg to do that. And then I finally did it. I jumped out there and bid my first contract. And that's how I got into it. But bid my first contract and won it. And then after that, I was like, I got to keep doing this.
Yeah. Well, what intrigued me too about what you do, because it's similar to me, if I did government contracting, like I have my own business, I deal with mostly military and money. And so if I was to apply for a contract and get it, like what would I be applying for? And you are kind of the same. You have your own business. It's Freedom Fleur, correct?
Yes.
Okay, I want to make sure I said that right.
Yeah.
I like to jack up names. So, and that, are you applying, that's a clothing business, right?
It is.
So
yeah.
Are you applying for contracts related to the clothing realm?
No, so actually I'm not. So I have several degrees. I've done a lot of stuff. I'm military, so I have a broad range of expertise. I've done computers, worked on computers, fixed computers. I've done information technology stuff, cybersecurity. I have a bachelor's degree in business management as an analyst. And I've done a lot of leadership and leading teams and creating organizations and stuff like that. So there's a ton of work like that I can apply for in there. So there's those things. You look for what are called NAICS codes, and those are specific classifications. It'll say like maybe art and wellness or something. There's so many different ones. There's thousands of them. Some that'll say highway, street, and bridges. Management, leadership development. So you figure out which ones pertain to you, which ones are like your qualifications, what can you go in and do. And some of it is actually, maybe if I don't actually know how to do this, but I know that I'm the person who can put the pieces together. Like if you're a point person, like, hey, I can put together a group of people to put this cleaning bid together. Maybe there's a contract out there that they want to award for $2 million. And it's in Hawaii on the Air Force base out there, and they need some contractors to do it, but they need a woman-owned, they need a veteran-owned, and they have these set-asides that they need. And you're like, okay, I don't mow lawns, and I don't do this type of cleaning service work, so what do I do? You put together those people, you go out and you start looking for, okay, let me see who's in that area. First of all, it's going to be the most economic thing to do is to look in Hawaii or wherever the place is. What are the people that are in that arena? Okay, you get a bid from them, and you put your team together that way, and then you bid their proposal based on the team that you put together. And so you can actually apply. You're just the manager at that point, so you don't actually have to have the expertise in it, but you do need to be able to put the team together and manage the team. And that's what I do. I like managing teams and doing the leadership part of it. And I will say that if you are prior military, you're a veteran, you're already halfway there because you have the business acumen. You know how to communicate in this space. Like, you know how to talk to the tech sergeants and the captains and all these people in this, in this space. So you know the customs and the courtesies. Whereas a civilian coming off the street, that would be a little bit more of a challenge to them. They wouldn't know where some of the, they may be disrespectful in some ways and wouldn't know it. So you're halfway there if you're, a veteran. So
yeah, I would think too, you also know the offices. Or even if it was a different branch, you still understand the chain of command, how it all works.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
You mentioned, if you were the middle person and just starting out in this, how does it work if you are awarded a contract do they give you part of the money up front to then, if you are putting the pieces together, how do you hire these people, or is it when you're done? How does that work? Because I think a lot of people would be willing to do it, but I think anything in business, it's all about that funding. Like, do
Oh
you
my
have the
goodness.
money to get it
Yeah.
done?
Yeah, it's like what is the old adage that says it takes money to make money. Yeah, you see that a lot. So some of the things you're going to need to be able to bond depends on how big the job is. Under a certain threshold, you'll have to be able to bond, which means a bonding company will have to say, I'll guarantee this much, this many hundreds of thousands or this many millions of dollars for you to do this amount of work. But usually that takes skin in the game. Like you've done the work and they trust you and you're vetted. Well, if you're first coming in and you don't have any experience whatsoever in federal contracting, and there's a job that requires a bond, a bid bond, then you're going to have to partner with somebody, which is what I did. I didn't have any skin in the game. I do fashion design. I do all these other things. So I didn't have skin in the game, and I wanted to grow my community where I teach entrepreneurs and all that type of stuff. So I'm like, okay, so what do I do? And again, my husband had been trying to get me to do this forever, so that is my in that piece. But for those who don't have a husband that's in like this, what can they do? There is what's called DSBS. .sba.gov, and it's similar to SAM in that you can go in there and you can type in buyers. So there's people who are looking for, if you went in and you got your WOSB, your woman-owned certified business, your veteran certified owned business, people are looking for you. There's really big companies out there that want to put a full package together and say, hey, I can provide all of these pieces for this unit or for this hobby shop that you're trying to build on your base or whatever it is. And so if they can do that, their proposal looks way more attractive than somebody who doesn't have those pieces. So it's easier to win contracts that way. So if you're there, they're looking for you. First of all, I have people that reach out to me all the time, and I'm not actually always looking for buyers. A lot of times they are calling me or emailing me because they see that I'm service disabled, veteran owned small business, I'm a woman owned small business, and they want to meet that quota. So they want me to come onto a project with them. And so usually what we do is a teaming agreement. It's very simple. We team up to do this job, and then I come in and I may provide the management piece of it or something like that so that they can get their women-owned participation or their veteran-owned participation in it. So this is essentially what somebody would do who doesn't have the connection with their husband having 2 decades of experience in federal contracting. So you would go in and you would form a teaming agreement. If it's a really big job, you would do it that way.
So if you are in a teaming agreement or you have experience, you don't need a bond, or are some of them so small that you don't need a bond anyway?
Some of them are so small that you don't need a bond. I forget the numbers, so I don't want to misquote it, but I think it's somewhere under like $500,000. You really don't need a bid bond. But if it's like heavy civil work, like I said, highway, street, and bridges, certain things you have to have a bond just because of the nature of the work. So things like that you will. But if you're doing things like management and consulting, those are the things I know about because that's my arena. You don't typically need a bond for those. It's like, okay, this project is a 5-year project at Dobbins Air Force Base, and they need somebody to come in. And there was one where they needed somebody to use the Lego system. I've never heard of that before, but it's a management style where they use Legos to teach teams. And so I was like kind of like have you ever heard of Bricks for Kids? It's like a Legos Bricks for Kids camp or something, but it's like that. But they use this as leadership for military teams. And I was like, okay, that's amazing. I don't know anything about it, but I could bring somebody on.
Yeah.
I could bring the experts on, and I could be the middleman and then partner with somebody locally and put that piece together. But for something like that, you don't need a bond or anything like that. You would just, get together with that person and say, hey, here's what I'm putting in a proposal for this. I'm going to submit this to the government. What's your quote for putting this together? I would come in and I would provide the leadership piece, or I would do this piece. I'd be communicating with the government. You'd be actually providing the training on this many days for this 5-year contract or 6-month contract, how that works or whatever. And it's the government, so they typically pay well when they pay, or pay on time when they pay. So, within a few months you could be getting your first payment, and that's helpful.
Sure is. It sure is. There's nothing like getting paid for your work. Are there mistakes that people should avoid when they're doing this, or starting out it might be, or just across the whole board? How can they be better prepared going into it.
Yeah, absolutely. There is I think the biggest thing is partnering with the wrong people. Because I mean, if you're a veteran, if you're a woman on small business, you want to believe that everybody has the right intention who's in here doing this, but they have put these things in place because there are people that don't always do the right thing. So yeah, you're going to want to be really intentional about who, like researching and being intentional about who you partner with. It's easy to look up people's information out there. It's not very hard to find. You can even look in SBA and see like what the standing is of the company, the kind of work they do and they've done. You can talk to them on the phone and interview them and see if they've done what you call mentor proteges or teaming agreements and how those have worked. And if you listen to people, you can kind of hear, like if they're saying things like, well, I had this deal with this teaming agreement and it didn't work out because it's just a whole lot of that, you probably are going to want to run. Yeah. Like find somebody. There's so many companies out there that are looking for somebody to team with, and even to, like I said, mentor protege, where you're working alongside them and they're helping you build your company. And so, yeah, so that, I think that's the number one thing, making sure that you partner with the right business. A second thing would be how you just talked about funding, but not going out of business before you even get started. So you can jump in here and you can win this $1 million contract or $2 million contract or whatever it is, and you're like, oh, I partnered with this big firm, and here I am. And there has been so many stories of small businesses actually being taken completely out of business because they went in with a big firm, and the big firm had the money to go to litigation if something goes wrong on one of these contracts, but a small firm does not. And so it completely wipes their firm out. So again, that goes back to the first thing I just said, making sure you team with, a company that you feel like is integrous, holding them to a standard. I mean, you can also do things like provide MOUs or NDAs and have like say, okay, if we go to litigation, this is what this looks like, and this is going to be fair for me as well across the board. So you're small, you got to cover yourself. I mean, there's so many things out there that you can use to draft up NDA agreements, something simple for yourself so that you prepare your business and prepare yourself for success.
Yes, I have found in business that if you're starting out, sometimes you don't think about all that you need a team around you, and it involves tax professionals, legal professionals, yes. Because when it does go wrong, you want to start solving the problem immediately. You don't want to have to go look for trusted team members. You want people that, are already ready to fight with you.
That's right. That is right.
Are there any best practices or strategies when you are applying? Whether that's like the proposal, or are some contracts easier to get than others?
Mm-hmm. As far as best practices, I think like some of the first steps are going to be really important. Like before you jump out there, making sure that you put a capability statement together. A capability statement is really like a resume. It's like, here are my list of qualifications. And then on that same piece of paper, you're going to have your NAICS codes, which I mentioned earlier. And so you go and you register for like, okay, hey, I can do these different things. I'm leadership development, I'm this, I'm that. This is what I can provide to the federal government. Here's my resources. And so once you have that together, you can submit those things to different industries. If you know somebody at, this contracting office, at this base, or at these different places, you can submit it to them and see what they have open. That's one way to do it, just like a cold call, sort of, so to speak. Or once you're online and you're inside of SAM.gov and you apply for one of these or bid on one of these projects, actually you can go in there and you can just click and make yourself an interested party. So they see that you're interested. It kind of like highlights it for them, sends them an email of people who are interested in the project, and then they start sending you notifications about that specific project. Well, when you're in there, you can actually see the point of contact's email. You can reach out to them and send them your proposals and different things like that as well. They do have to be biased, so they have to go through everybody's proposal so that it's fair. It really is all about who has the best bid. So even if you may have, the best team on there, it's the best number wins as well. So that's an estimating piece that really is like making sure that, okay, when you've asked this person, this painter, how much they charge for this, making sure that your numbers, you're not like overselling it in the numbers, so that you can put a package together that's competitive. So yeah, those few things for sure.
Yeah, I would have to think that, well, in business, like you're always trying to make a profit, and if you don't, you underbid that, then that means that's all.
Oh yeah, you're in trouble.
Your profit. Yeah. Big
Yeah, if
trouble.
you underbid it and then you win it, now you have to actually do the work,
Oh man, that should be a T-shirt. Don't underbid and win it.
Right. I like that. Right.
You can steal it. You can steal it. You can have it. So are there any resources that people can use to get schooled up or just get their hand held, especially in the military space as veteran-owned business, women-owned business? Are there resources people can use to get sped up quicker?
Absolutely. So you'll see, like, the SBA does a ton of courses and classes and stuff like that. And I did some of those previously, and what I found is that they are not as get you to a government contract, get you to selling in front of people, but also not to winning contracts. So, which is, my husband does a course, and his course is inside of my platform. So I have a platform, and it's called the FF Social Club, and specifically for women. So women who are veterans can go there, and his course is inside of there, where he teaches from top to bottom, like how to apply for NAICS codes, like how to win your first contract, and how to put a team together, how to do a team agreement, mentor proteges. Like, he talks about all of those things in there. And that's my big spin on non-traditional funding, because it's such a huge way. Even if you're like, I don't want to do federal contracting, it's not my goal in life, I don't want to do this, but you can actually use it to benefit your job. Like, you do podcasting and other things and conferences, but you're also a speaker and a leader. So you might be able to provide some services that the federal government would need in that way. And then, use that funding to pour into the work that you're doing now.
Yes, I think that's so important. I didn't realize that starting out, but again, like the money, like you do need money. I don't know why I didn't think about that when I started. Like, you do need money to run a business. And for a financial person, that really just wasn't. I wanted to help people. I wanted to do that thing that I'm good at and I'm passionate about, but not realizing, hey, you need a tax professional, you need an attorney, you need, maybe somebody to help you with social media or whatever it is on the back end. That, it costs money to do business, like you said. So if you can funnel some of that into the other areas of your business, like you said, because there's not just one thing that you're good at. There are other things that you're fully capable of doing that probably apply to your realm of work, and having that profit from the government contracting, especially if it's a big profit.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. We, my team, we sat down, and that was something that we did. We were like, okay, what are the things that we are good at? What are our core competencies? So if somebody said, what do you do right now? What is it that we do that we could talk about all day long, et cetera, et cetera? And so between all of us, we put all these core competencies together, and we were like, this is a pretty robust team. It's some of the things you don't even think about that you do every day, but you sit down and you put a piece of paper in front of you and you have to write it down, and you're like, oh wow, okay, this is what I do. Let me put this together and package it up and actually present it and use it. You don't realize how much stuff you are not using that you're great at, that somebody else could benefit from, and you can, help the mission of the government, also help you as well.
I would think too, that helps with your confidence in applying for those contracts, that hey, if I do win this, I can follow through. I have bid it properly, so I will make a profit, and I can do the task that they're asking me to do or coordinate it. So I think that's great to write all those things out. That's such a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
Are there other ways of non-traditionally funding your business? Because I think so many people think, well, I have to take out a loan, I have to do pitch competitions. Are there other ways besides government contracting?
Oh, I mean, there's tons of ways. This is the one I'm most noticed, and I'm most skilled in right now. I've done a ton of things like investing, like look for investors. One of the things on the SBA's website, if you look on there, you can find investors, but you need to be able to have your company investor ready. A lot of people don't think about that. You hear people sometimes talking about their exit and when it's time to leave their business, and they talk about it before the business is even going good. But you have to prepare your business for a strong exit, or to prepare your company to be sold, or to prepare your company for investors to want to be pouring money into it. And so investing, when people hear investing, of course, the first thing they think is free money. Okay, this is free money. Somebody's going to pour like $500,000 into my dream, or $1 million, or they're going to put a investing round together with other investors, and all these people are going to do this. However, they have like their things that they want to hear. So if you pitch an investor, you have 5 minutes, sometimes less, maybe 2-3 minutes, and then you have a one pager that you're basically presenting them, and you're going through and telling them, hey, this is how you can get a return on your investment for what I'm doing. This is my annual occurring revenue. This is this, all these pieces or whatever. But if you win it, if they're sold by what you're saying, then it takes a few months, but they're willing to invest in your company. And then that is money that typically you're not paying back for maybe 7 years, so it's like it gives you time. So you're not like a loan, like immediately, here's $300 I'm paying back, a month on this loan, and I'm still in the startup stage and don't have $300 to pay back. So the loan is like paying itself back, But investing it works completely different that way. So if you can get an investment, which again, I mentioned the FF Social Club, that's something that we provide in the platform that I have for women, is to get investor ready. Like, we talk about investing and how women are kind of the lower on the totem pole as far as getting investment, but we have to do our part. We have to make sure that we're ready to sit at the table and talk with an investor and have the conversation and be confident about presenting what it is that we do, and be willing to move some stuff off of our business that doesn't make sense for them, if we're not too hung to it. But yeah.
I completely agree. If you sit down to a table, to do business and you look like you're flighty and you're winging it, not a lot of people, that's not security for them. That's not protection.
Right.
They want to know that they are making a good investment.
Right. And typically the people you're talking to aren't actually they're not the stakeholders, the people who are holding the money. They're somebody who's representing somebody else's money. And so they want to make sure that they are doing the best with this person's dollar, so they have these people, these stakeholders that are like, hey, this is the amount, I'm trusting you with this, I need to grow it. So they care about numbers. So if you're like, I got a passion project, I care about people, that's great. However, what do the numbers, you have to put the numbers with it, and that can be challenging for some people, but you have to do both. Like, what do the numbers look like? How can this grow? And how can this be something, that could work for them as well as you? So,
was Freedom Fleur your first business? And what made you decide to do that?
No, so I started a photo booth business with a wedding planning business, and I bought a photo booth. So I was doing that like years ago before me and my husband got married. So I did that. That was my first business. And as I was doing it, I was like, oh, this is neat. I pulled my husband in to deal with the people part of it because I didn't want to do that. And then as we were doing it, we were like 5 years into it. I think he felt like I was managing him because that's me. I'm like on the leadership piece. I'm like, okay, so I need you to do this. He's like, I did not sign up to be an event planner. I'm like, okay, well, I need to find another solution here. This isn't it. So that was my first business I started there. And then Freedom Fleur, when I first started it, was a nonprofit. So I started it as a nonprofit to advocate for women who had walked through sexual abuse and all those things. So we would host events where we'd work with women who'd walked through abuse and all kinds of different abuses and things. And so we would advocate at rape trials for women and things like that. And then as I was going through it, I went on some different trips and saw women in different spaces. One was to India, and I got to work with women who were in temple prostitution and see that side of things for women, see the disparity, see women who were working in the fashion industry and clothing, who were sewing and making clothes, and see the disadvantage and all those things that were happening there. And then when I came back from those trips, I just was initially stirred, like, what could I do to help? Also realizing that this is not my context. I'm not an Indian woman. And the best person suited to help this community is somebody in their community who is upskilled. So how can I put the resources in other women's hands so that they can do it? I think there's a dignity piece there too that's really important to me. Like, teach a man to fish. So I'm like, let's teach him how to do it instead of just giving him everything, because you lose dignity and you lose power there. So I wanted to make sure that I was doing that. So I came back home, and initially I was like, okay, so I think I need to switch from nonprofit. I need to go for profit. And I need to figure out a way that my skills in fashion entrepreneurship and these different arenas can actually help women in disadvantaged communities. So we call Freedom Fleur now. It is luxury with a purpose. So a part of our proceeds of our suits and the things that we sell go to grants for women to be able to start their own businesses. And they're small grants. They're like $1,000, $2,000, small like that. But then the point is, inside of our platform, the FF Social Club, they're able to have community there, like the whole comprehensive piece where there's wellness, where there's talks about like the investing. There were times when I was like, okay, I just had a meeting with an investor and it was really hard and it was discouraging. Who is in the founder space that I can talk to? And then I was finding, wow, I don't really have anybody in this space that's at the level that I'm at that I can talk to. It's just me here. It's kind of isolating. So for selfish reasons, I built that platform and that piece for founders for me as well, because I was like, I need this to be able to grow. Like, we need community to be able to grow. And then I realized that I had a lot of women that were around me who were aspiring founders, hadn't started a business yet, but they kept saying, I'm so inspired by what you're doing. I want to start a business, but I don't know how. Like, what are the first steps? What do I do? And so I was like, okay, there's a space on there as well for the aspiring founders, so they can get in there and they talk about all the, maybe they want to be a wellness coach, maybe they want to be a mentor, maybe they want to start a cookie company, whatever it is, but it's broke down into segments where it's by state, it's by career field and different goals and stuff like that. And then opportunities for people to get investor ready. And again, our emphasis is on federal contracting as far as non-traditional funding, but bringing in a ton of other guests and other speakers to help, pour into women so they can, empower themselves and, take up their fair share of space in the business world.
You touched on back there about you were nonprofit and now you are for profit.
Yes.
I think a lot of times when people get out of the military, especially, or even I see this in the women's space, is people are encouraged to be nonprofit.
Yeah.
And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. But I also think that, you can be a for-profit business and still have a great purpose, exactly what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're really passionate about what you're doing, trying to make a positive impact for a group of people. So what are your thoughts on like for-profit, nonprofit? Because I, as a female veteran, get this question all the time about why I'm not, nonprofit.
Wow, people really idolize that nonprofit thing, don't they? And that's great. Like, I started out like that and I was like, this is good. I personally felt that it was not sustainable for me. The amount of work that I was putting in, the amount of hours, day, night, conferences, speaking, all the things that I was doing. And I'm sorry, the dollars were not making sense. I'm like, I have to eat. I have to feed my family as well. I am married and we do well. But sustainably speaking, I want to be able to leave something for my family as well. I want to be able to make an income and do well. And so for me, I started studying social enterprises. I'm like, well, what is a social enterprise? And so it's kind of like Tom's, like the shoe company or whatever. Like, you buy a shoe, they give a shoe, or you buy a shoe, they give a certain percentage of their profit and their proceeds. And so that is kind of the thing that I'm always emphasizing to women, like whatever the business is that you want to start. A lot of these women who are in disadvantaged communities talk about spinning their business or turning it for a social good. I'm like, you can still make a profit from doing it, You can still turn it this way and just have a social bent to it, Like, maybe I help kids, I go to schools and I speak to kids, or I do this, or so that is kind of my thing. Like, I studied social entrepreneurship just so that I could see what's the benefit. And for me, the better benefit is that if I'm going to do this and I'm going to give back, I can't help others without helping myself first. I just think that that's not ethical or responsible. So that was my reasoning.
Yes, I love that. If anybody's listening right now and they're thinking about getting into government contracting or even just starting a business, like, what are your thoughts for those people to kind of, give them inspiration to move forward?
I say do it. I know that's like, okay, girl, do it. But no, really, like, you could think yourself into a frenzy. I've met women and for years, they're like, oh, I've always wanted to start a business, so it's just this ruminating thought that I want to do it, but I've never done it. Find a space, find a community that you want to be a part of, the people who can uplift you. Your community and your environment is everything. Sometimes you can be in a space where it's not uplifting. There's not enough encouragement to do what you're doing. And if you know you need that, set yourself up for it. Like, in the mornings, I listen to motivation. I do the things that I need to do to prep my mind for my day, for what I'm going into. I know there's going to be external forces and challenges that I can't do anything about, some bad driving, some frustration, some whatever it is. But I start my day with prepping for, okay, I'm trying to go somewhere. I'm trying to get somewhere. And if I were to become hijacked, how can I, what's my grounding piece, basically? Community is huge for that. So if you have a community of women who are all about the same thing, we're all kind of in a frenzy, want to start a business, but we haven't yet. Now you got this space where you're all growing together. Or if you're a founder already and you're like, I'm trying to get to my next level, how do I do that? Now you have this community where you can grow with the other group of women who are doing the same thing and who are also trying to level up in business. Even mompreneurs, because we, whole different set of challenges with women who are moms and trying to find a room to record in that doesn't have a baby crying in it. So all the things, but yeah.
I want to ask you a couple of quick random questions I ask everybody. First off, what is one resource or tool that you use that makes your life or business easier?
Monday.com. It's a project management software. My project manager and my COO, they kind of manage the setup of the platform, but it is phenomenal at making sure that we're all on task. It has deliverables and dates, and you put everything for your specific project in there, whatever it is, and then you task or assign each person to it. You put a deadline and a date on it. You can set sprint goals and, come back to it and be like, why wasn't this accomplished? How can we do better this next go around? So that's pretty important for us. We love that software.
What is your favorite book right now or your favorite book of all time?
My favorite book right now, I've read it several times, is Dare to Lead by Brené Brown.
Okay, that's a good one. I'll be sure to put links to that in the show notes for everybody. Now it is time for my favorite part of the podcast, which is game time. And today, in honor of your visit and your business, we are going to be playing trivia, but clothing edition.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So are you ready for this?
I think I'm ready.
Okay, so I'm going to give you 5 trivia questions with multiple choice answers, and if you get 3 out of the 5 right, you get bragging rights that you won game time on the Military Money Show, which is a real big deal around here.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, number 1. What is the traditional Scottish pattern consisting of intersecting lines often found on kilts and scarves? Is it A, argyle, B, houndstooth, C, gingham, or D, paisley? I thought this one was hard.
Okay. I immediately want to say houndstooth, but maybe it's the first one. I don't know.
It is the first one. It is argyle. I thought houndstooth as well. So, okay. Number 2. Which fashion item was famously introduced by Levi Strauss and Jacob Davis in the late 19th century? Is it A, a t-shirt, B, sneakers, C, blue jeans, or D, the trench coat?
Blue jeans?
That is correct. Wouldn't it have been funny, though, if it was a trench coat? I would have been like, wow.
I was like, maybe it was a t-shirt. I'm totally winging it. Right?
No. I did think t-shirt, too. So, okay, you got number 2 right. Number 3, what type of hat is often associated with detective characters like Sherlock Holmes? Is it A, a beret, B, a fedora, C, a top hat, or D, a baseball cap?
Oh, man. Wait, what were the first 2 again?
A is a beret and B is a fedora.
Gosh. I'm just going to say beret. I don't feel like it's that, though.
No, it's B, it's fedora. Which,
what?
like Sherlock Holmes, I thought it was like something in the front, something in the back, which I don't think is a fedora.
Yeah.
So the internet may have lied. That one's a little...
Because automatically I'm thinking of like this kind of floppy-ish, I'm like, I don't know what the hat is called. It kind of looks like a sun hat. I don't know.
Yeah. Yes, it has a bigger brim around it. So, okay, number 4. Which material is commonly used to make traditional Chinese clothing, such as the... I can't even pronounce it, so I'm just going to spell it. Quipao.
Ooh.
So is it A, denim, B, silk, C, leather, or D, linen? I feel like this is kind of a give me because I think Chinese culture, like none of the other ones are really seen.
Right.
So.
I don't even know the word is quipo or something. Is that what it is?
Yes.
Quipio?
I should have probably Googled how to say that.
Let me guess.
Recording.
Okay. A, B, C.
It's A, denim, B. Yeah, silk. That's correct. So I was like, I haven't
is
seen
it
a lot of
silk?
linen. Yeah, it is silk.
Totally guessed that.
I knew it wasn't linen. I haven't seen a lot of outfits in the Chinese culture in linen. So
right.
Okay, number 5. What type of footwear is designed to be worn in aquatic environments and is often made of rubber or plastic? Is it A, flip-flops, B, stilettos, C, loafers, or D, clogs? It says aquatic environments. So it's not like, because I thought like swim shoes, but no.
Right. Okay, say the
A, flip-flops. B, I'm going to go ahead and rule out B for you. It's not stilettos. Nobody's wearing nobody's wearing high heels at the pool. Okay. C, loafers, or D, clogs.
maybe loafer?
No.
I
It's
almost said
flip-flops.
What? Okay. Okay.
That's why I ruled out
I see
stilettos. Okay. Well, you didn't win game time on the Military Money Show, but I really appreciate you being here playing the game, and I loved learning more about you and what you're doing. But can you tell everybody else where they can find you and all the projects you're working on?
Yes. If you're interested in being a part of our network of women who are aspiring founders or who are already founders, you can find us at the ffsocialclub.com. Again, that's ffsocialclub.com. And then my personal website is Kirstie, Kirstie, Fleur, Fleur.com. And you can find all my things on there as well, all the coaching and all the fun things I do. So, yeah.
Thank you so much for being on the show, Kirstie. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Lacey.